everybody, and welcome to Spartan Sports Report, another edition with Sam and I, and we welcome Athletic Director at CHS, Brent Duncan. Thanks for stopping by.
Glad to be back. It was a nice little break from you.
How you mean that?
Okay.
In all the good ways.
Even if you do have blue on.
In all the good ways. Got to sport the horseshoe today.
So what happened as a member of the IHSA Executive Board? Is that what you are? Or
I
Board
am.
of Directors?
It's one and the same.
Okay.
Executive Committee, Board of Directors.
What's up with Indianapolis?
It was a cold weekend, but I got to see 6 outstanding soccer games this Friday and Saturday
What were they played?
at the Carroll Stadium at IUPUI. So
Okay.
got to hand out a few trophies, a few medals, and some tears and some joy of happiness and tears of happiness. And one little girl just kept saying how awesome this is. I can't believe it, how great this is. Of course, they won. The other side wasn't so happy, but they were a good game. So it was an outstanding time with a bunch of kids that were excited about winning, at least 6 of them, and 6 of them were a little on the sorry, sad side.
Were they close games or?
2-1 was the biggest scoring output.
Okay.
One point spread was the most, and there were a couple that went to overtime and one went to shootout. So they were all really good ball games. So.
Looking forward to handing a trophy to the Lady Spartans soccer team someday.
That would be awesome. Any team to hand the trophy to would be great. So
Well, that's great. So soccer is completely finished.
soccer's done. We got cross-country state meet was last weekend at Terre Haute.
Okay.
We got volleyball this weekend. I don't have volleyball this weekend, but it's at Worthen Arena at Ball State. And after that, you just got football.
Football goes through.
Football goes up to Thanksgiving weekend. So
Thanksgiving weekend,
the
right?
Friday and Saturday after Thanksgiving will be the day of the football finals.
Yeah, there are 6 classes, so I think they play 3 Friday and 3 Saturday.
I think it's 2 and 4.
2 and 4, is it now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll go back and double check. It might be 3 and 3. I think it might be the evens on one day and the odds on the next day. So 1, 3, and 5, and 2, 4, and 6. But
Okay. Good deal. Well, Thursday, the school board, I think, is ready to open bids for the Spartan Activity Center.
yeah, we're excited and
I'll bet.
can't wait. And hopefully we'll see a project and a fork go in the ground here this month. So I don't know how long it'll take to do all the. I think they've already did their bidding. I think, but hopefully they'll.
Yeah, they're to open the bids. I'm not sure.
Get everything
Then they'll
out, get
review
all
them.
the, hopefully, here before December, end of November, 1st of December, we'll start to see some progress in the
That'd be
groundwork.
great.
So
Right.
we're all excited. It's a
Yeah.
big talk, at least from our side in the athletic department. Our coaches are excited, and I'm sure there are a lot of our kids are excited about having
I'll
some place
bet.
to get inside
I'll
in the wintertime
bet.
workout.
Yes. Before we completely shut the door here on football, we might talk about what happened in the sectional second round a little bit. Rushville went to Indianapolis Chittard, and Mooresville went to Richmond to decide the 3A and 4A teams that will advance to the sectionals this week.
Yeah, of course, we played Richmond the week before, and lost to the Red Devils, and then of course Mooresville, I think, my standpoint, is by far the favorite in the class. So
Yeah,
they kind of handed it to Richmond last week, and then they will play Greenwood this week. And I'm not sure if that's at Greenwood or if it's at Mooresville this coming Friday. So
I believe it's at Greenwood. No, I think it's home too. I think Mooresville's home.
yeah, it all depends
right.
on if anybody's had a home game and who's the top guy on the team that hasn't had a
That's
home
how
game.
that's how that's decided.
I think they both had at least one home game, so they'll fall guys at the bottom of the bracket, which will be Mooresville.
We've got some information on these teams. As we pointed out, they lost in the second round last Friday. Rushville lost to Indianapolis Chittard by a pretty good margin. It was a 62-6 score. That ended their season at 5-5 for the Lions. Pretty good season though. Sam and I talked last week. They were winless last year. Came back this year and won 5 ball games.
Yeah, a different coach, I think, and just kids play a lot harder than they did the year before. They still had the Craig kid that was a running back, was a good running back for them, so pretty solid for
He's
them.
injured, and
Again?
talking to his dad, and is going to have surgery.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it's a labrum again in the shoulder, but I knew there was a question when I saw him at the cross-country meet, so.
Right. And Richmond lost to Mooresville. It was 48-21 that score. Their season record is 2-9. Chittard plays at Indian Creek for the sectional championship, and Mooresville meets Greenwood at home. The Eastern Indiana Conference has 2 teams still unbeaten in tournament play. East Central barely got by South Dearborn 9-7. What do you think of that game?
little surprising when I saw the score
Yes.
of it. I will say that it's the best South Dearborn team I've seen probably in the last decade. So, and it's slowly been coming because you could see improvement year after year after year, and the
Yes.
numbers are growing. So, and the Ballard name doesn't hurt, being the ex-East Central guys a long time ago when they were successful. So,
And Salmon pointed out last week that he thought their seniors stayed with the program throughout the 4 years. That makes a big difference.
oh, absolutely. When you're talking football, at some point in time, size and strength does come into play. You know, you can have skilled athletes at whatever grade level, but when you're $150 trying to block that 225, sometimes that doesn't work very well. So hopefully our kids will stick it out, and we'll continue to build and keep our younger kids out and get a new crop of 8th graders coming in and get everybody stick together and get 3 or 4 classes in a row that has
Yes.
15 to 20 kids in it, and then we'll be in the same spot that they're in.
Trojans, 10-1.
Excuse me, I had read that late in that game, East Central won that with a field goal late in that game, that they had trailed
Really?
7-6, and Bob Powers had that on Facebook about that. He'd written a little story about it, and a real comeback for East Central to even take that from
Absolutely.
South Dearborn.
Yeah. Maybe one of those cases of looking ahead, maybe.
Could be.
Possibly. Probably.
That does happen every so often, I guess. The Trojans will be playing for the sectional title at Ellettsville, meeting Edgewood, who's 8-3. They won over Silver Creek 23-15. Ellettsville is near Bloomington. Batesville 9-2. They won 28-22 over Lawrenceburg. They play at Brownstown Central on Friday. Brownstown Central 10-1. They defeated Salem 56-15.
That'll be a good matchup.
Yes.
Should be, and Lawrenceburg, we played them well, and, Batesville's been consistently solid the last 3 or 4 years, so be a nice little drive. One way or the other, either to
Yeah.
Brownstown Central or back to Batesville.
Yeah.
So.
Down to almost southwest Indiana, isn't it?
It's getting down in there a little
I was
bit.
just through there. It's
down around Lagodi, down deeper.
yeah, it's between Seymour and Bedford on 50. So
Nice
I was
little
just
haul.
down there Saturday. We'll
Were
take
you?
a drive, looking at the leaves.
Okay.
Went through Lagodi, ended up in Jasper. It was a nice drive
You
through
the
the
Schnitzelbank.
No, never even heard of that.
Great food.
Okay.
So Thursday night should be a big night at Spartan Bowl.
Yeah, the Lady Spartans get to open up their home season, so I'm sure Coach Thompson will have the girls ready to go. And if I'm going into my senior year or my first time stepping out through the tunnel, it's going to have a little bit of butterflies for everybody. But hopefully we'll get
Yes.
everybody in the stands, and girls will get off to a good start. Of course, we're playing New Pal, who was the sectional champions last year in our class, and at our place, in fact, and cut the nets down.
Right.
So hopefully our girls
Right.
remember that.
Yeah, we lost twice to them. The opening game was a 4-pointer of the season, and then they ended the Spartan season by winning the first game of the sectional. As you said, they went on to win the sectional.
Yeah, so hopefully our girls, have had a pretty good summer, and Coach will have them ready to go come Thursday night.
You've been a coach. What do you look for when you put a team together, when you and your assistants, I suppose, all confer? And
Well, you look for kids who want to do it the right way, kids that can offer you the chance to win, work hard, good students,
Yes.
good people on the outside the basketball court or wherever. But it just depends on what you're looking for and what kind of style you want to play. But never turn down the good athletes. And if we have 25 of those, that'd be a good plus. But it's just about chemistry and getting the style that you need to play, and putting the girls in the right spot or the boys in the right spot to do what we need to get done, and define their roles and give them things that they got to work on. And hopefully they take that through the summertime and improve, because everybody watches what you do in practice, but truly if you don't do it in the summertime, practice is hard to develop your skill because you don't have enough time, because you're game planning and working on other things, trying to get ready for opponents. And some of our kids forget that summertime's when you're actually making it as an athlete in the weight room, and all the extra training that you get an opportunity to do, and just working on yourself. So hopefully they'll take heed to that and show up this next summer when we get around to that. So
Well, this is a group of girls that have been together for a long time. There were a lot at the end of the last season. He had a lot of juniors that would be seniors, so it's not like they don't know each other.
no, they've been together a while. We've had some that decided not to play this year, so it'll be a different look for some of us as we come out on Thursday night. But there were 11 or 12 girls going to be seniors, and it's hard to keep 11 or 12. And
Yes, it is.
some of them just decided on their own that they didn't want to be a part, and that's their choice. And we wish them the best of luck at what they decide to do. And Coach will put the best 5 girls out there that he's got at practice, and we'll move on Thursday night and hopefully take the Lady Dragons. It'd be nice to beat the defending sectional champion on your home court after they cut your necks down last February. So
It should leave a bad taste in your mouth.
it would for me. There'd be a little bit of revenge factor in there somewhere. So.
Is there a maximum number that the IHSA allows on a team, or can you have as many as you want?
No, you can have as many as you want, but they put limits on you for each sport on how many you can dress at the sectional.
Oh,
You can list some sports it's 18 on it that you can turn in, but you can only dress 12. Football's unlimited. So it just varies from sport to sport on how many you can put on this sectional entry list, and then how many you can actually dress in the game. So, but it's regular season and your own team, you could keep as many as you really wanted to keep. So.
Okay.
Just then, always great to keep a lot, because then you get some people that may not be as happy. So
All right.
we hope that's not the case, but sometimes it is. So
Going back to putting a team together, the IHSA sets a certain date that you can begin practice.
exactly.
Can a coach look at his team before that? I mean, or does he have to wait till that date and pick his team after? Aren't there tryouts?
Well, they'll all have tryouts. So
And
Coach
can they
Thompson
occur before?
No, you can't really have tryouts prior to that. Now they can have
okay.
workouts and stuff, and kids are always open and welcome to come because they're open workouts. So, but you can't actually pick your team before the season starts. So they'll be, the girls already chosen their team. So when Coach Brown starts a week from today, wrestling's actually starting today. So he'll give them 2 or 3 days to try out, and then they'll get together as a coaching staff and select which of the kids that are out there that they want to keep. So you never know what they're looking for. So, but yeah, you'll get a couple, 3 days. Sometimes depends. Used to be about a week. It's not quite a week anymore. So
Right.
I'd say by the 4th day they'll have their idea who they want on their team after 2 or 3 days of tryout. So
Okay.
Is that a hard thing as a coach to have to, you've had a group come in and try out, and to have to make those cuts and tell the kids that thank you, but
well, yes and no. I mean, there are harder cuts than others. I mean, some are more clear, but you go back to when we played, they just used to post a list on the wall, and you all went up and scrolled down the wall, looked to see if your name was somewhere on there. Not you're turning out the door, but they don't do that anymore. So everybody that gets cut gets personally talked to, and hopefully explained why they didn't make it, and hopefully you come back and work on these things for the summer and give it another shot. So it's not the easiest thing in the world to do by far. So because the kids want to play,
sure.
and for some of them you might be crushing their dreams, and that's a hard thing to think about. But you got to think about the overall program for everybody and what's best for every kid that's coming out. So.
And while you said, they can keep for a regular season, they can keep as many as they want. It doesn't make sense to do that if somebody's going to sit on the end of the bench all the time.
It takes a rare kid these days to just want to be a part of something and sit there and be happy that and we've had some of those in some of our programs that I'm not saying they didn't want to play, but they were okay with the roles they were given and accepted those roles and were not negative about being in the roles that they were in. So that's a plus for those kids, but not everybody's like that. So
Right.
it's a little difficult sometimes to cut, but you can't keep 30.
No.
So, yeah, 5 on the floor and 25 sitting on your bench. As Coach Cooley said, there was 20 on his JV team the year they went undefeated with Basil's group, and 5 played the first quarter, and 5 played the second quarter, and 5 played the third, and he thinks 5 played in the fourth. So, whether that's true or not, that's just what he tells me. So,
That'd be a nice problem.
especially if you could win them all, no matter which 5 was on
Exactly.
there, it makes it an
Right,
easy problem.
right.
So.
Can you tell us about the JV team? What to expect from it? It had a great season last year.
Well, hopefully some of those kids will be on the varsity team. So, the JV was 21-2 in the boys last year, and then freshman was a little bit over 500 right in that area. So just it kind of depends on how they gel together. And then, I don't know that any of the middle school kids that are freshmen are going to get a chance to move up to JV or not. There's always that possibility. But I think our overall middle school record for the boys last year was 50-something and 10.
Yeah.
Or 50-something and 13, somewhere in that area. So it looks promising, but that promising is a scary word when it's got the potential to go in there, because it all depends on how the kids want to put time in. Whether it's in boys basketball, girls basketball, swimming, gymnastics, wrestling, whatever it is, in the wintertime, you got to make the commitment to do what you're supposed to do and make yourself better, which makes your team better. So hopefully they'll all buy into that and take care of those things.
When you move from middle school into high school, it's a whole different game too.
Well, speed-wise, even
Yeah.
you go from 8th grade to 9th grade, you play with all those kids, but if you go from the 8th grade to the JV game, it's even faster. And if you try to go from there to the varsity, it's like lightning. So it's just the passes you can make at that lower level against a 12-year-old or a 13-year-old, you're not making against the 18-year-old because they got a little more speed, a little more strength, a little better angles, a little better coaching sometimes. So all those things come into play, and then things they used to be able to do, they can't do, so now you got to learn and adjust again. So it's a big learning curve to take a step higher than one grade at a time. So
6-minute quarters in the freshman games.
6 in the freshman game, 7 in the JV, and that just started, what, three years ago, I think?
Something like that.
And then 8 in the varsity game. So.
In 1987-88, a three-point shot came into existence in high school basketball. How's it changed the game?
A lot. I think if you've watched over the last 30 years, the number of kids who, first of all, learned to try to shoot the three-pointer before they tried the fundamentals, you can find that a lot. But definitely has opened up the inside because you got to honor the outside as much. It used to when everything was 2-point, that 19-foot-6 shot didn't look very good out there. Now that 19-foot-6 shot looks pretty good if you got a guy can stroke it because they're gaining 3, and if you can't score, 3 beats 2 every time. So, but it's just changed how the offense is run. As you watch, there's always a shooter on every team, it seems like. So they're just planted at that 3-point line somewhere, just hoping your guy helps off for the kick out, and you got to know which ones can shoot it and which ones you can leave open. So.
And the three-point line just under 20 feet from the goal.
19-foot-6 inches,
Right.
so all the way around. So, and then
They've moved that out in college, and of course, pro's been out for a long time. Any talk of changing that line
Not-
in high school?
not so far there hasn't been. It used to be there. The college was right there at the same spot as the.
For years, yeah.
And for me, if you're going to have it, you should be halfway between the high school and the NBA rule. So I don't know exactly how far out the college one is right now, but I don't know. The 3-point line is here to stay. It's not going to go away. So.
And I think it's added excitement to the game.
Oh, I think so too.
No, I don't disagree. And
yeah.
for some people, it's just about scoring. The more score you get, the better off they think the game is. Whether you win or lose, it's about scoring. And for me, I guess I'm a purist. I like to watch the fine art of the game of basketball being played. The different parts of the game that comes into play other than just running up down the court and shooting and firing. And it's the defense and the rebounding and the screens and the talking. So.
But late in the game when it's close and your team can tie or pull ahead with a 3, it has changed things.
Oh, absolutely. Because when I played, if you're up 3, we'll back it in the lane, and you want to jack it from out there, we'll try to rebound it. If you hit it, we'll say we're still up 1, and we'll go down and shoot free throws because we're going to hold the ball. So that has changed it from that aspect, and just the thrill of the fans watching the 3. And a couple of years ago, Salty got hot and drilled 6 of them. Senior night against Lawrenceburg, and just those days, Zach Henderson hit 8 in one game. So, then everybody's in the game, and Brandon Kramer shot like 60% from the 3-point his junior year, and that's stroking it.
Yeah, it is.
So it does. It has changed it a little bit, and good, bad, or indifferent.
It can wipe out a 10-point lead in a very short time.
Makes it a lot easier than the old traditional 3-point plays of getting a bucket underneath and getting fouled. I hope you made your free throw.
Right.
So.
But that's still fun too to see that.
Oh yeah, I mean that's part of the game, and those kids who get down and can bang and keep their ball and get up to the bucket and put it in and still get fouled and make the shot. That's part of it. So strength comes into play. So.
Before the 3-point, the only long shots you would see usually would be at the end of a quarter. If a kid was in backcourt, maybe get up to the center line and throw it from there, and that was about the only time you'd see a long shot, it seems like.
Yeah, I can't say hardly from when I played. If you shot outside 15 feet, your coach was probably yelling at you. But but we're old people, so the kids today don't know what it's like not to play with the 3-point line.
Yeah, when you played, did they have a jump ball after every made basket?
I'm not that old, Sam.
Okay. I know
we weren't allowed to dunk it when I played. That was still the rule. So.
Yeah. and that's another thing that's brought excitement to the game is letting them dunk now.
Oh yeah, I'm surprised you still can't dunk on warm-ups, but you don't want the rim to be broke before the game starts. So otherwise we'd have everybody hanging on it. But that does bring in a little excitement to the crowd when they know the kids that can dunk it and they get the breakaway. And you can see it when you're standing out. They're anticipating that, and they're all starting to rise up and get ready to roar when it goes in. And It's that time when you don't know the kid that can dunk it, that goes up and dunk it, the unexpected, like, they're like, oh, everybody, did you see what he just did?
Well, yeah, Garrett Silcott is an example. I mean, he wasn't that big a guy, but he could take. And Grant Smith too. Now Grant was a little taller,
Right.
but still, for his size, to be able to dunk like he did was a lot of fun. Great to watch.
Especially when you're not anticipating that the guy has the ability to dunk it. And then you look at him like, because we had a kid that dunked in a JV game a couple of years ago, if I remember right. And then it's like, where'd that come from?
Yeah.
So,
But there's nothing more embarrassing than going up for a dunk and it banging off the back
we've
of the
seen a
rim.
few of those in our days.
We've seen that too, yeah.
I remember one kid playing, and he went to dunk and it ended up on the other end because it smashed into the front of the rim and bounced all the way back to the other free throw line at the opposite end of the court. So,
Yep.
How do they keep the backboards from shattering? They used to shatter when somebody hang on the basket.
well, breakaway rims have helped that. So when they dunk, the
Okay.
rims collapse now instead of the
Yeah,
pressure.
it used to be
coming
you'd
on
ever see the
board.
glass shatter on the backboard.
And if you look at the new baskets, not only do they break away, we don't have them yet, but they're starting the last couple of years. They break forward down, but they also will rock sideways. So if you dunk it from the side, it's tipping to
see.
the side. Not,
Right.
all that strain's not coming on the glass anymore. You get a little leeway. Well, by the time it collapses about that far, you've let go of the rim. Doesn't say it always happens, but it's supposed to.
Well, I'm glad to see that. I mean, we used to see
Unfortunately for us, ours are wired to the ceiling, so there's not as much tension as on a pole or the big hang down racks that hold them up there. So
they used to stop play real
when
quick.
Daryl Dawkins used to dunk he stopped play a few times for the old 76ers. So
Well, the girls open Thursday with New Pal, as we mentioned. First of 12 home games.
yeah, it's always good. Hopefully
Yeah.
they'll have a good season. You'd like to hope you win them all at home and go 500 on the road. It'd be a great year. So
Yeah,
we take 14, 15 wins.
12 at home, 8 on the road. So then plus the tourney during the holidays. But that's great for the folks with season tickets.
Oh, absolutely. You've been out to come out and cheer on
There's
the Lady
still time,
Spartans. And still can get your season ticket. $55 for seniors, $60 for adults, $40 for kids, and family based on 2 adults and 2 students is at $200. So
It's good for all winter sports.
good for every winter sport there is and every spring sport there is. So you got a lot
Good.
of activities to see.
Yes,
so.
right. Boys have a 10-10 season this year. 10 home, 10 away.
That's ideal, when they play in the wedding
Sure.
tournament. And then I'm not sure if we're going to or not, but we've been asked to participate next year in the first Phil Cox tournament, if you want to call it Phil Cox tournament at Kokomo.
Oh, great.
There'd be an 8-teamer, so we're at least in negotiations to be their 8th team. They would like to have the Spartans there since
Well, I
Basil
think so.
coached there and
Absolutely.
Phil coached, played here. And
Saw his
So-
sister the other day. She's excited about that and is really hoping that
well, we've
Spartans can be a
been
part
in
of that.
communication. It's just unfortunate at the same time as a wedding, so we've got to communicate with the wedding if we want to get out for a year and if they would let us back in after a year. So that's all part of negotiations, even though
All part of why you get the big bucks.
that's the part of the side that people don't know happens on the back side of the scenes. There's so many little things that has to take place in order for one thing to happen. So, but that's what
It's been a long
that's what
time
it's
since
about.
we played at Kokomo.
Probably since Basil went to
When Basil,
Kokomo.
yeah, when he
So,
went there,
I know when I got here in '89-90, we did not go to Kokomo ever,
Mm.
but I made a few trips to Bloomington, but Seymour and Martinsville. But that's close to my stomping ground. So
it's
that's-
not that far.
No,
We've
it's
gone
not.
farther.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we've been to the river, and and we've been almost to the north all the way. But
Is that a one-day tourney or?
I would say that'd be a 2-day with 8 teams in it. I would say it'd be
Okay.
a 2-dayer, unless it's just. I'd have to double check if it's just a guarantee to play a game, or if it's an actual 8-team tournament where it's over a course of 2 days. I just know I've just seen the prelims of
I see.
wanting to get the 8 teams, and I haven't seen a format on what it would be like. So
Well, that's a great way to honor Phil.
It is.
Because I
It
know
is, and-
Kokomo thinks much of him as we do here in
Absolutely.
Connersville.
So,
Right.
been there for a long time.
Yeah.
Yes.
He spent more time there than he did growing up here in Connersville. So, I hope it can work out. I think it'd be great for both communities.
Oh, absolutely. And being a part of the first one, that'd be, not saying we wouldn't stay, but at least being in the first one. So
Right.
that would be a plus. So I know we're in the talks. So
Boys open on the 21st of November. The Saturday before that will be a scrimmage.
correct.
And it will be Nicetown coming to Spartan Bowl this time.
Yep.
1 o'clock in the afternoon. And how much does it cost to get in?
Well, sometimes the scrimmage, we just let people come and watch.
Oh, okay.
So we'll see. We might open up the concession stands and, it's a chance for our kids to get up and play.
Sure.
And we'll have officials in, and we'll take care of that. And I haven't decided, but it might be open day just to let people come. Maybe we'll take toy for a tot or something, and cans for the
Yeah, I
city
remember-
or whatever.
I
So we
remember
used to do soap games a long time ago.
Soap games and cans of food and
Right.
that type
So,
of thing. So
It's not a true game because it's controlled, and there's certain
Right.
things you do in the first quarter and only certain things you can do in the second quarter. You don't really shoot free throws, and the clock doesn't stop, and so there's all those little things that come into play sometimes. And sometimes it's just to give your people a chance to come and see them without necessarily
Sure.
having to pay $1 or $2. So
How long does the scrimmage last usually?
just depends on the format. It's probably a little over an hour. There's 5 quarters, and then typically with JV can play one. I can't remember if it's a 15-minute running clock or a 12-minute running clock. So it takes a little over an hour time you get to play, and
Yes.
maybe an hour and a half. So
Well, I know the fans are looking anxious for the girls to get underway, and of course the boys.
well, I know we're ready for them, and and swimming's right around the corner. They started practice last week, and like I said, at 5 o'clock today, the wrestlers are coming in for their first time. So I'll be headed back out to make sure they all have the little paperwork in they're supposed to have in, and
Okay.
we'll go from there. So
new swim coach.
Daryl's still swim coach.
Daryl's still
we
swim
have
coach, okay.
hired an assistant head coach, if you want to so speak, Jonathan Bittner. He was the head swim coach at Rushville for 7 years, and then Rushville dropped their swim program last year. So he was excited about coming over, and
Some
I've heard
experience.
some positive things from him, and we're still looking at hiring a dive coach and another assistant swim coach. So we've interviewed.
Okay.
Now it's time to stick the offer out to them. So
Back to girls basketball. Not only they play Thursday, they play Saturday too at Cardinal Ritter.
yep.
And refresh my memory of where Cardinal Ritter is.
Only been there once. Seems like it's in
Kinda
the
off of
right
56th Street,
up in
right
the
in the
middle,
center,
right
right?
in the middle. So
yeah. Kind
it's
of
not-
west of
and
the
it's
old
in a real small
Glendale area.
small gym type place.
Yeah, they set us up on the stage.
Yeah.
So I can't say Lady Spartans are going left or right on your radio dial because
They're going back and forth.
They're going up and back.
So yeah, it's kind of odd. Where I thought the gym would be when I went there was not actually where the gym would be, and the side door was open, and I just
Nice,
thought
nice folks though, and
I just thought I was walking into the school, but I didn't realize I was walking into the gym when I was walking in there. So I've only been there once. So, in a while. I'll have the GPS on.
okay.
So
Well, the girls, Thursday night should be an exciting evening.
yeah, let's hope so. I hope we're coming out with the Lady Spartan win to come out 1-0 to start the year.
New Pal has a good program, though, in about all the sports, don't they?
They're growing, and they're sitting on that suburb of Indianapolis.
Yes.
And people that do not want to live in Indianapolis are moving out. And New Pal seems to be the place to be right now. So I've had some people move in that were not even from around the area, so played on their football team. So seems like they're getting a lot of attraction from people right now. So
Sam and I talked last week that Richmond has a new coach for basketball. They have a couple of boys that moved in from Fort Wayne North, I think.
yeah,
There was a little bit of controversy whether or not they would be eligible, and finally a judge ruled.
I don't know if a judge ruled, but I think it went to the case panel review, which is downtown. So, and whatever ruling that was made by the IHSA was changed by the case review panel, and they evidently got full eligibility. So,
That's I think that's unfortunate. The IHSAA is the governing body. That,
well, I thought the case review panel was just to determine whether the duties and their rights have not been violated in the due process of it, not to make a ruling decision and overturn things. But that's where it stands at this point in time. So,
okay,
and I think one of them's a Ball State recruit, so they're a couple good players. So,
I'm sure.
Basketball begins shortly. Exciting.
Very, very exciting. I think it's 23 days for boys basketball. Of course, just a couple days here till the Lady Spartans.
Thanks, Brent, for joining us here on the Spartan Sports Report.
glad to be back with you.
Good evening, everybody.